content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
What's cracking, everybody? You know who I be, man. I'm the G with a PhD, and of course you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers, man. So, if you haven't already, man, one of the things I want you to do is to hit the like button, man. Subscribe to the channel, man. Hit the bell notification button so you can stay abreast of what's cracking here on the Green Gorilla channel, man. Next thing I want to do is give a shout out to all my haters, man. How y'all doing, man? How my haters doing, man? I hope y'all well. I hope y'all alive and kicking, man. But, as I always do, man, I want to give a shout out to all the members of the Green Gorilla channel. So let's take care of that jazz, man. Shout out to Roguish the Billmonger, Destro 1, Pulpit 28, Michael Ross, Charles Rogers, Papa Didas, Travis King, Rais Muajid, and Adam Williams. Shout out to B Hillfire, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean 955, Timothy Blewett, Brotherly Love 215, Charles Gilmore, Diego Harry, Patricia Holly, 7Q Pit, Kwaku Asasi, and Super Tech. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to Liz Terrell, Gregory Oliver, Antonio Ferria, Greg, Barry Little, Alan Wiley, Mr. Valentino, Jason Hales, and Black Men Being Brutally Honest. Black Men Being Brutally Honest. Shout out to 77 Base X, Omni Americana, Cameron 87, Deshaun Nolly, Brian Peaks, Nelso, Apex Prowler, Kareem, also known as Tower Sec, Doc LaRock, Julius Ferguson, Jay Charles, Mark Hope, Lee Ways, Jeffrey Speed, The Face, Mark Swift, Show Me Black Dog, Odd Collar, Deanne, and Donna Watts. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Cozy Corner, hiphop.catv, Coach DC, The Remedy, Kashif Caldwell, Ominous Black, I Am Black Man, Nitchita, True King 337, and Mr. Blue Collar. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to Barnolas, Kyle J. Sura, I'm Just Jules, Brian McMurray, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Artisan MC, Mr. Heat, and Afro Shop. Shout out to Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178, Black Swerve 404, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, C Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, Author Unknown, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, and Kalan Jakala. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Ricky Dawson, Cedric Bowman, True 7360, BK Born Shaheed, James Washington, Hostile ADEP, W. Pierre 1, BGS Ibmore, and Marvin Battle Jr. Oh, and last but not least, I cannot forget my brother in heaven, Forrest Windu. Shout out to y'all. And on the Patreon side, I want to give a shout out to Gay Black Pill. Y'all welcome here, man. We all black men. I don't care what you do. You know what I'm saying? As long as you are down for the cause of black men. Romello Scuggs, Ryan, Darnell Smith, Chris York, Excalibur, Jason Warren, Soul Pen, Anu 219, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Kwaku 217, Dragon 59, Supreme Ibmore, Adrian Hicks, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, Mo Mal, and Asangwa. Shout out to all of y'all, man. Straight up. And, if you're inquiring about how you can become a member of the Green Gorilla channel, here's how you do it, man. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, we back. I'm Gigi. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers. And today we're going to have a little chat about father involvement. I mean, we talk about the gynocracy all the time, and we talk about the ways in which black men are excluded from the family situation such that they can't have a substantive impact on the lives of the children in the black community. And so it has a deleterious effect. And so what I wanted to do was share an article with you. I'm going to try to keep this clean today and not do a bunch of hooping and hollering and cursing because, I want to do that. And, when there's a time and a place for it, I will do that. But today I'm going to try to keep it a little bit professorial and, kind of neat and concise. I probably won't even be here long, but this is for public service. So let's just get right to it, shall we? So I found this article. And the name of the article is entitled Father Involvement and Child Well-Being. Father Involvement and Child Well-Being. And this article was published in the Journal of Pediatrics and Child Health, Volume 47, Issue number 7. Okay, and of course, you know what the title of it is. I've said that. And it's authored by Catherine R. Wilson and Margot R. Pryor. Okay, and the abstract of this article says the following. Children's development is influenced by the quantity and quality of father involvement in their care. High levels of father involvement are associated with significant and high desirable outcomes for children and families. In order to foster increased positive FI, which is again short for father involvement, dissemination of evidence-based knowledge regarding its importance and value is needed. Evidence summarized here suggests that fathers and mothers alike need to be educated about the fact that positive paternal involvement is highly beneficial to children. And so, I've been saying this. Most of the men in the manosphere have been saying this. This is not like we're finding out something new and vital and, crucial. We already know this, okay? But we have a situation in the black community where many children are born out of wedlock and they're born into single parent families. And this is just not an optimal situation for children. And I just wanted to demonstrate this from an academic point of view, not me hooping and hollering and proffering, my own positionality and my own emotion-based response to the condition that we find ourselves in. I wanted to show you some research. So here is that research. Goes on to say that research on parenting has typically paid much less attention to fathers than to mothers in both early childhood research and intervention. Nevertheless, available evidence clearly demonstrates the importance of fathers to the developmental health and well-being of their children. While fathers' traditional breadwinning role remains important, the paternal role is now recognized to be much broader than this, reflecting societal change in role expectations for women, as well as increasing knowledge about the contribution of paternal influences to children's developmental well-being. Now, look, let me just say this. So there are some things that I like about this article, but then there are some things that I don't like about it. I think it's written from a female perspective. I mean, the authors are females, but at least they're doing their best to try to demonstrate that there is value to father involvement in, the development of children. So, we already know that breadwinning or provision is important, okay? But we've always known. I mean, when did it become happenstance that men did not know that them being present in the lives of their children is not integral or important? It just confuses me sometimes some of the things these women write. It befuddles my brain, man, that they would say that. But, okay, whatever. So they have key points in this article. And there are 3 of them, as you can see. The first key point is that fathers make important contributions to their children's development and well-being. That's the blanket thesis, okay? The second key point is accessibility. And this is important for Black women to understand if there are any watching today. I know this is not going to drum up a lot of viewers because I'm not, giving an account of something that is controversial. I'm not lambasting women right now. But when it's necessary to lambaste women, I will. And here they have to be lambasted, especially those women who are gynocrats and who try to use the system to circumvent fathers' involvement in the lives of their children. Shame on y'all, man. Straight up. Y'all need to be scolded for that. You need to be rebuked for that. You need to be basically held accountable for that, because that's wrong. But at any rate, accessibility, engagement, and responsibility for the range of childcare activities are important aspects of fathering. Okay? So it's more than just giving money. You have to be accessible, you have to engage, and you have to be responsible. But who doesn't know this? Okay? And lastly, the key point is that fathers need to be included in early education programs or parent education programs and other family services. Now, this point here is something that I like because in the United States, you almost on every occasion and on every turn see fathers excised apart from programs and family service organizations within the context of this culture. I mean, there's a lot of stuff for mothers, to help them, but there are hardly, if any, and if there are any, they're very few. There are very few programs and family services that are offered for men so that they can have a better opportunity to engage with their children. But this is, where we are. This is the kind of culture we live in, okay? So what are the advantages of father involvement? Children's development is influenced by the quantity and quality of father involvement in their care across all stages of development. High levels of father involvement are associated with a range of significant and highly desirable outcomes. We already knew this though. Okay? These include better psychosocial adjustment in children and better mental health as adults, higher levels of cognitive and social competence, increased social responsibility, capacity for empathy, self-control, self-esteem, social maturity and life skills, more positive child-father and adolescent-father relationships, more pro-social sibling interactions, fewer school adjustment difficulties, better academic progress and enhanced occupational achievement in adulthood. All of that. All the above, okay? All the above. And so for all of those women who would assume that they can do it, they can be the mommy and the daddy, come on now, you tripping, man. You want to be the mommy and the daddy? Come on now, that's just ridiculous, man. We can do better than that. The evidence is against you. Now, here's a point at which they say something which is, to me, pretty commonsensical. It just makes sense that there's a difference between quantity and quality. I mean, you can be present but not be present. And you can be present in a negative way. So I think that this is what they want to explore in this section of this article. So they go on to say there is a diversity of views regarding the associations between quantity and quality of father involvement. Some argue that a close father-child relationship requires fathers to spend more than a small amount of time interacting with their children in order to develop sensitivity to their characteristics and their needs, and to learn skills and confidence in parenting. Others claim that it is predominantly the emotional domain of parenting which has beneficial effects independent of time applied, or that a father who spends a lot of time interacting with his children but does so in a critical or demeaning way may be doing more harm rather than good. For example, having children who demonstrate both lower and less stable self-esteem than other children. So, I guess the point here is that, quality over quantity. But they go on to say in this section, there is also evidence that father absence in a family can have a deleterious effect on children's development. And this is the point that's important. This is the point that's important. This is a big fat boom to all those who does not agree or who don't agree with this sentiment. Okay? That's a big fat knockout punch. Children in families without a father figure are vulnerable to more adjustment problems and poor academic outcomes. In essence, what this means is if the daddy is not involved, the kids don't know how to discipline themselves, or they're not readily amenable to discipline, and they don't perform well in school. But let's not worry about academic outcomes. We're worried about life outcomes, because there's more to the ability to cognate and to have a well-rounded method by which to think about the world, right? That's more important than just a mark on a report card, okay? But we already know that children don't think straight without their fathers being involved in their lives. So therefore, they say, for optimum child development outcomes, father involvement that is high in both quality and quantity is desirable. I think we understand that. So you want not only quality, but you want quantity as well. And this is where we get into what I think a lot of women take pause with. And they do so because they overestimate the goodness that they do in the nurturance of children. And look, we're never going to argue that women should be absent in nurturing children. But we're putting forth the case, you can't do this by yourself. You cannot do this well by yourself. You can't handle this by yourself. You're not the mommy and the daddy, because men, by their very nature, intrinsically have a unique parenting style that is different from that of women. And it doesn't have to do with just beating them into submission. Corporal punishment is not the difference here. It's the way that men interact with children in general that is different. Our interaction and connectivity with children is different than that of women. And when children miss that interactivity, they're the worse off on account of it. Now, although there are more similarities than there are differences between mothers and fathers, and positive parenting characteristics are similar for both, mothers and fathers tend to have different interactional styles, with fathers more playful and mothers more nurturing. Fathers, typically more physical, unpredictable, and arousing play, is greatly enjoyed by children, particularly boys. And this unique paternal style contributes to children's attachment security. Do you get this? Ultimately what they're saying is fathers engage children on a somatic level, a physical level. They play with them in ways that moms don't play. because they're not as physically engaged as are, on a whole scale level, men when it comes to children. Children love rough and tumble play, especially boys, and they need it. And fathers often give it to them, and they teach them useful and valuable life lessons along the way. It's a practical kind of interaction that they miss out on when their fathers are absent. Okay? So experience with this type of play is also thought to be important for helping young children to manage intense emotions and reduce aggressive behavior. So when you mock aggression, when you play, you learn how to put a check on play. You know when you're being too rough. You have to learn that from practical experience. And these boys aren't getting this from their mothers. They can't get this from their mothers, because mothers don't engage their children in this way typically. Okay? And with important implications for children's social skillfulness and peer acceptance. When children don't have the ability to engage in this kind of behavior and to know the limitations of such play, because boys do this with each other, okay? They do rough and tumble play amongst themselves. If they don't know the limits and the parameters of such play, they are maladapted to social interaction with other men and with women. Let that sink in for a second. But this is something we overlook and gloss over all the time. Next, we come to the issue of, or section of, behavior problems. Now, pertinent to greater understanding of the contribution of fathers to positive developmental outcomes for children are questions about paternal influences on less favorable child development. Parenting young children presents a number of challenges, including managing behaviors such as tantrums, aggression and non-compliance, overactivity and destructive behavior, and internalizing behaviors such as social withdrawal, fears, sadness, and somatic concerns. And again, somatic concerns is a fancy way of saying body concerns, problems related to, or concerns related to, their physical interactivity with the environment and with other persons. While these may be part of normal development, generally dissipating over time, these difficulties can become problematic in some young children, with a high probability that they will persist into early adolescence and beyond, and increasing the risk of later mental illness and antisocial behavior. Fathers' role in the development and amelioration of children's behavioral and emotional difficulties has not yet been widely investigated, and there is an increasing recognition that fathers must be included in further research and interventions. Now look, there's not a lot of research on this because everybody just wants to talk about what moms do. This is truly a gynocentric culture, man. And it's frustrating because you mean to tell me that there's very little research that demonstrates that fathers, or that we don't know intuitively that fathers as disciplinarians are highly effective? This just is absolutely absurd to me that we live in a culture that cannot extol the virtues of fatherhood. In 60 years, have we come to the point where you can't say anything positive about father involvement? You can't do research about it? It's ridiculous to me. But anyway, they go on to say, further, if fathers are not included in studies, connections between mothers and their children's emotional and behavioral problems may be overstated. Those studies that do include both mothers and fathers show differential findings for each, with significant contributions by fathers, reinforcing the importance of investigating differential influences on treatment outcomes. So what little studies do exist they show that there is reinforcing importance related to the differential outcomes on treatment for those kids who have problems, okay? Studies have reported an inverse relationship between levels of positive paternal involvement in children's behavior problems. No shit. This just seems like a non-starter here. Conversely, paternal characteristics such as anger, anxiety, depression, and traditional child-rearing beliefs are associated with poor adjustment in children, and such fathers perceive their children to be more difficult to manage. So, I mean, when you're doing a study, you have to put the antithesis of, the study. So I guess that they're adding this here. I personally don't like it. I don't think it's necessary because you'll be hard-pressed if you have objective and impartial research to find the same chock through the pages feminist research or research about mothers. Nevertheless, they put it here. So you got to throw in some dirt on dad. Okay, well, or whatever. But anyway, they basically are saying that, like, if your daddy is screwed up, you'll be screwed up too. Okay? Go figure. Anyway, they say preschool children referred to child behavior clinics often have fathers who are more likely to use corporal and verbal punishment. In other words, if you spank your children or if you go off on your children, then they're more likely to be in trouble at their schools or in other places where they just so happen to be, okay? So, what they're trying to do is draw a link to the deleterious effects of corporal punishment and verbal punishment. In my personal life, I got 2 girls. I've not had to whip them in order to get them to do things that I needed them or wanted them to do. But that's just been my experience. I've never had to beat my children. But in the Black community, we think that beating our children is an effective strategy to get them to comply with our wishes and our desires or with our directives. But I think this is also a remnant from slavery. That's just my perception of it, though. Everybody knows the phrase, get your black ass in this house right now before I beat your MFing ass. Is that really working in the Black community? Is that cutting down antisocial behavior in the Black community, or is it producing more antisocial behavior? That's up for you to decide, but I tend to think that it might have a correlation with antisocial behavior in the long run. And I think it should also go without saying, man, you shouldn't call your kids little niggas, little bitches, and stuff like that. That's absolutely unnecessary. I've heard mothers refer to their daughters as bitches and niggas, and I've heard fathers call their sons little niggas and stuff like that. That's not leading to positive outcomes. That's just my opinion. But anyway, they go on to say that boys are overrepresented in the incidence of externalizing problems. So, whereas girls may hold things in and engage in self-effacing or self-destructive behavior, boys typically tend to externalize their problems. They act out on other people, is what they're trying to articulate here. They go on to say the classification and stability of problem severity in preschool boys referred for oppositional behavior has been shown to be related to fathers' life stress, attitudes toward parenting, psychological symptoms, positive involvement, and harsh discipline practices. The influence of fathers on childhood, emotional, and behavioral disorders may be particularly relevant for boys, given fathers' potential to act as role models to sons. But what happens in a community where the fathers aren't present, the mothers are acting just as crazy as any abusive father would to their sons, and then you have a generation of boys who grow up and become men who have all kinds of problems because the fathers aren't present at all. So this becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. cycle that needs to be broken. And then they go on with another section, paternal psychopathology. Now, again, this is the part of this paper I'm not too happy with. At least the previous section, but I got to make sure that I understand what this section is about before I make any comments, so I'll hold off. They say here that although the effects of paternal psychiatric disorder on children's development during the early years of infancy and childhood are yet to be extensively studied, relevant evidence is emerging. Findings to date are mixed. However, some studies have found paternal depressive symptoms to predict subsequent child emotional and behavioral problems independently of maternal symptoms. Fathers' depressive symptoms have predicted toddler externalizing behavior and demonstrated bidirectional associations with young children's internalizing behaviors. Higher levels of paternal rejection, anxiety, and depressive symptoms were associated with a less favorable treatment outcome in clinic-referred anxious children. So when you don't incorporate or interpolate the mind state, the psychosocial well-being of fathers, it can have a deleterious impact on children. So we see how this is holistic and not just some sort of compartmental approach to improving the well-being of children. And this is, an issue that I think feminists have. I think they're wrong about this. I mean, they go on and on and on and on and on and on. And they talk over and over and over about women and what they need resource-wise in order to take care of children. But the resource that they often leave out is the father, and to have a father that is also receiving help and aid as much as he can from bureaucracies, from family members, and from society at large. Because you can't just break this thing down and analyze it and compartmentalize it and pixelate it and look at one part of the issue or the problem and not fix the whole thing. You got to fix all the parts. You got to get the whole car working in order for it to drive. You can't just fix the AC. You can't just fix the carburetor. You just can't fix the transmission. The engine's got to be running too. The transmission's got to be working too. It's all of the parts have to work in conjunction with each other in order to get or to acquire the most effective outcome. Okay? And then they go on to say at last in this section, interventions targeting child behavior problems should thus include paternal psychosocial health as well as traditional child rearing beliefs as potential markers of risk. So the father has to be in a good state. And this, could, if he's not, then it can create some issues as well. That is what they're trying to argue, okay? Dimensions of fathering is the next section. And I'm not going to go much further on into this. It's not that much longer. Dimensions of fathering. Despite the significant benefits of positive FI described above, and in contrast to mother involvement, father involvement remains a matter of choice rather than being considered obligatory. Consequently, there is a wide variation between fathers in both degree of involvement and the aspects of care they participate in. So they say here, father involvement remains a matter of choice to some people. And this is the way it's presented in our culture. Oh, well, no daddy around, no big deal. Or even if the father's there, oh, honey, you take care of the kids. I'm not going to deal with that. That's something you need to deal with. But I got an antidote to this, though. I mean, I know where this is going, but I'll talk about this a little bit later. Involved fathering is commonly conceptualized as occurring across 3 dimensions, each important in its own way. Fathers need to be both available and accessible. That is, to be around when their children are there and responsive to their overtures and to their needs. Well, the question is, how can you be so when you live within a culture that doesn't really see fathers as necessary. How do you do that? They need to be engaged. That is, to listen to and interact with children, to pay attention to their needs and interests, and to be actively doing things with them. The third dimension of fathering is conceptualized as responsibility. That is thinking, planning, organizing, managing child needs, even if the parent is not physically present with the child at the time. For example, arranging a play date, selecting and purchasing toys, or planning a school consultation. Now, all of this becomes, in some cases, impossible with the kind of culture we live in. And when you have women who use the systems that do exist in order to alienate fathers from their children. I just thought I would throw that in there. Also, they say it is very valuable for fathers and children if fathers spend some regular time caring for their children alone. In other words, father-child time by themselves, not interacting with mom, not trying to triangulate the situation between mom and dad, but just being alone with dad. Because they say such time is qualitatively different from time children and fathers are together when the mother is also present, where she's hovering and smothering. Yeah, moms, y'all do that. You hover and smother. It can become suffocating to children and prevent them from being able to reach their full potential. Sometimes dad needs to be alone with the kids. So they say such time is qualitatively different from time children and fathers are together when the mother is also present and may be particularly significant for father-child bonding. But despite an increase in their availability to children, many fathers spend minimal time alone with their children. I knew they had to throw that in there. This is something I really don't like. I think it's sad. But hey, they gotta, they have to do their man bashing to some degree. They're going to say something about Australian fathers. Apparently this article was written by Australians worried about Australian children. But of course, as I am a black man, I'm worried about black children. And they say that Australian fathers remain less involved than mothers across all dimensions of involvement. And, let me show you something real quick before I move on to the next section of this article. So this is in response to those people who, would argue that parental involvement from black men, we have this image or this reputation for being deadbeats and not there. But we're there. Okay? So anyway, here's an article that basically says that the CDC report on fathers' involvement proves that black dads are the most involved. And the Pew Research Center reports the role of the African dad is changing. So black dads are the most involved. Everything that they're asking for, we already are in the context of this civilization and this culture. But yet and still, we get no bones. We get no honors, no praises whatsoever. Because far be it, you can't praise a black man in this culture. You can't praise black fathers in this culture. That would be supporting and endorsing the patriarchy or some other such ridiculous bullshit. But oh well. So look, and this article is written by a woman who's a doctor in education, and her name is Carjamin Scott. And according to a study by the Centers for Disease Control, black fathers were the most involved with children, no matter if they live with them or not. Now, of course, if you have more time, and this is what I don't like about this, because they have to throw in those implications. This This is an implication, an argument by implication. So basically, they're going to justify the gynocracy and not having black dads present in the context of the home or being primary caretakers just so they can say, oh, well, even if they're not there, they're still involved and it still has some weight and a positive, consequence for children. I just think this is bullshit and it's intended to basically support and endorse the gynocracy. That's just my opinion, though. But anyway, they go on to say that a greater percentage of black fathers, when compared to white and Hispanic fathers, fed or ate meals with children daily, bathed, diapered, or dressed children daily, played with children daily, and read to children daily. So for all of you assholes out there that say that black men are not around and that they don't do shit for their kids, to hell with you. Because we're there. Because we're there. Anyway, it goes on to say that the study also proved that overall, American dads are more involved with childcare than in years past. The CDC report complements research on fathers by the Pew Research Center, which reported the changing definition of fatherhood in the U.S. Here are 6 facts. Over 50% of moms and dads reported that parenthood is an essential part of their identity. Dads are spending more time on childcare and homework than in years past. 48% of working fathers would rather be home with their children instead of working. 58% of moms and dads ranked values and morals higher than discipline, emotional support, and income when asked, which was extremely important for children. 70% of Americans say it's important for the baby to bond with mom and dad. Not just with mom, but with mom and dad. And here we go with a boom again. Black fathers, 70% were most involved and likely to have bathed, dressed, diapered, or helped their children use the toilet every day, compared with white at 60% and Hispanic fathers at 45%. There you go. There you go. For those detractors and those people who, say black men ain't this or that, ain't shit. But getting back to where I was, because I want to finish out that article, okay? I want to finish out the article. So they come up with some strategies for increasing father involvement. Well, the first thing in the black community you could do is actually allow the kids to have access to their dang on fathers. You think that would help? I think that would help. I personally think that would help. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, they say in order to foster increased positive father involvement, there's great need for the dissemination of easily accessible, evidence-based information regarding its importance and value. Recent Australian research indicates that email and internet websites can be successfully tailored for this purpose. Good luck with doing that here. Findings summarized here suggest that there's also a great need for early parent education programs to include fathers. Again, good luck with that here. Fathers and mothers alike need to be educated about the fact that positive parental involvement can be beneficial to children across all domains of development and well-being. In addition, parent education programs specifically targeting fathers are desirable to foster the skills and confidence men need and want for their range of fathering roles. Bam. Good luck with getting those programs to be put in place in the United States. Because right now we got a problem with fatherhood in general. That would be, supporting the patriarchy or something like that. Anyway, currently, Parenting, education, and family services are not as father-friendly as they need to be to increase men's participation in them to any significant level. Got that right. You got that right. On a broader scale, family-friendly work and policies and practices are critical for fathers as well as mothers. Let me say this again. On a broader scale, family-friendly work policies and practices are critical for fathers as well as mothers. A culture change is needed to increase the rate of progress in the world of work towards the greater health and well-being of parents and of their children. So there you have it. And here's a list of sources that were used to comprise the article. It's pretty lengthy. I'm scrolling over it rather quickly. But I mean, look, it is what it is. Okay? I'm gonna take a quick break right fast. I'll be right back, man. And I'll see if people want to have a conversation about this. I'll be right back. All right, man. I told you that this wouldn't be controversial or anything like that. I just told you that this would be a, it's going to be informative. And so now, if there are any people who come to you and argue that father involvement is unnecessary and it is not beneficial, that it doesn't ameliorate the psychosocial condition of children, now you have a research paper that at least you can go back to and see that it actually does. And, I kind of scrolled past the footnotes, but one of the things that you have to do when you see footnotes is you need to read those sources and to see if they actually support the article the way the author is saying that they do. But, that's neither here nor there. But look, I did all of this, in order to basically just give you some ammunition against those persons who say that your involvement, if you are a father, is unnecessary. Your involvement is necessary. Your involvement is integral to the well-being and the development of children. And yes, anyone can come in and participate in this conversation. I've left the link in the StreamYard, so anybody who wants to come in, express an opinion, feel free to do so, okay?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you? And we got another one in the stream, man. I'm going to get rid of some of this clutter here, if you don't mind. Is that okay with you guys? That's fine for you?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Okay, so speak to me, man. Give me some conversation. What do you think about this?
Well, I wanted to add about the spelling bee champ, the national spelling bee champ from down here in Louisiana. Mind you, that's ranked 49th to 50th in education. When I saw her picture, it's the picture that's on media is with her mother. And a friend told me a story. He had seen an interview of Zalia Avant-Garde, and he asked her about the word that she spelled to win the championship. It was the word murray. Murray. I don't know what it means right now, but it's spelled kind of like the surname Murray.
Okay.
And when they asked her, how did you get that word? How did you come to get that word right? How did you nail it? She said her and her dad practiced the words. And when they came across that word, they joked about it. Her dad made a joke about the name, and they went back and forth and laughed about it. That's a story that didn't make the news. So when you talk about uh, fathers and their influence on their children, and how we're left out of the conversation, it helps me look at stories from a different angle. I can't help myself now, brother, from looking from the material that you put out there, Dr. T. Hassan and all the other brothers put out there. I'm looking and seeing this erasure of the father and his influence on his children.
Yeah, I think that's a shame, that right now we live in a culture, and this is, partly to blame because of the political aspirations of women, and partially it has to do with feminism. But I mean, the idea that men are obsolete and fathers are obsolete as well, and that the elimination from men per whimsy, per the decision of women, it has no social consequences. Okay, and we're not talking about. Notice one thing that the article didn't say. Okay, it didn't say stepfathers. It didn't say, stepfathers are crucial towards the development of children. It said that their fathers are, right? But people don't want to accept this. They don't want to, they don't want to understand this because they want to make women feel good. And, so if you want to step in, you want to step in like you're going to handle it all? Come on, bro. You can't do what a father can do because those aren't your kids. I'm not saying that there aren't any successful stories, but children have a natural affinity for their own fathers. And they will accept tutelage from those fathers in ways that they won't from men who they know are not. So, but anyway, any other gentleman want to make a comment? And look, I wanted to say that I know in New Orleans, man, spelling bees are big. I noticed that. And I've been noticing that since childhood, that, the schools always get into the spelling bees and stuff like that. But, that's just New Orleans culture for you, man. Buy a po' boy for me, man. I want one.
Oh, yeah. You want a dress?
Man, fully. Lettuce, mayonnaise, tomato on that, baby.
Yeah, man. What you know about that?
I know all about you never close. What you know about that? Did that close down on the sidebar, man? Before we get back to the main topic of discussion,
Yeah, man. We never actually close, but something always pop up in this place.
Yeah, that was the joint back in the day, man. That and Club Atlantis.
Oh man, you know what that is now? A funeral home.
What? But anyway,
Yeah,
we can't get too sidetracked from the topic of discussion. That man, the dude's gonna be start scratching their heads like, man, what these cats talking about?
Man, how you guys doing today?
Hey, what's up, my brother?
What's up,
Kenshin?
brother? How you doing, brother?
What's going
Hey,
on?
man, this is a great topic because, and I'm telling you right now, the Manosphere is doing some of the biggest research right now in the history. Because what matters, right? What matters is the data. What matters is we don't need to go in a conversation in bad faith with a female because the data is true. The propaganda is a lie. So even though the gynocracy has taken effect in all laws, in House of Congress and state, mayor, right down to federal government, the way it spends, and the way they don't recognize us, it really just shows that it's someone behind the veil that does not care about the black boy becoming a black man. In other words, under the bridges right now, you have homeless men. As of June 30th, there will be upwards of 1 million or 900 and something odd thousand people who will be evicted. correct me if I'm wrong, Gigi, the percentage of black women in those who will be evicted is upwards of 70%, right?
Oh man, I don't know the numbers on that, but I do know that
I watched
because of
BGS video. I think most black women are gonna be in that eviction. This is gonna be a telling time if federal government or Section 8 or social service assistance is gonna help these women who are gonna be under the bridge in house tents with those homeless men.
I guess
Then
that's
you
the
had the
era of the
situation where
diesel. That's going to be the era of the diesel, as
okay,
BGS
so
so accurately presented it. Yeah, but
if you want to break that down a little bit more, I'll mic down.
uh, well, ultimately, the government is doing a poor job, man. They put band-aids on bullet wounds. What we need is a comprehensive plan to expand the middle class. But everything that the people on the right are doing, or even the people on the left, because as far as I'm concerned, except for social issues, the people on the left are just like the people on the right. As it pertains to fiscal policy, they're pretty much the same. Okay, Barack Obama was no different than George Bush to me in relation to his fiscal policies and the way he approached, economic issues. But I know he was, big on, healthcare or whatever, Obamacare, but it really didn't do anything but empower the insurance companies. It made them richer. So that's just my opinion. But
And
Brother, you
on the right, on the
that's
right,
a whole show.
but
That's a whole show.
but I already did that show,
Now,
So yeah, what
I mean,
I
I
talked
was gonna
about.
say that's a whole new show on fracking.
Yeah, well,
I know you
yeah. Go ahead. Finish your statement. Finish your thought.
because I wanted you to. That's a whole another show on on just fracking and how that affects the trickle down, especially from Texas, right? Because most of the fracking is going on where the natural resources can be dug. So I mean, this is I did a
Well,
whole lecture on the cost of black tax and the cost of being black in America. The full black tax from 1869. I even messaged you that we need to actually have a show because you're elite at the resources in that area, and I also on my own did, I just dug into that. So why I bring that up is in terms of black male wealth by subconscious and conscious racism. And I don't like to use racism. What I would use is the pick and choice of what you wanted us to do by the labor law, where you needed made us separate but equal, and that's in 1956. So now the black male had to work, right? After if he disagreed to work for free because he had to live in a farmer's yard, right? The farmer was the slave master. So you're free as of Emancipation Day, but your full black taxes, you're getting fed, you live in my property, you're gonna make crops and you're gonna yield them for me. And I'm gonna yield them on my own farm. So all you're doing is the 100% labor tax. Let's push up further to 1920. There was 6,000 black teachers teaching 2 million black kids. That means the opportunity for a black male who was only 40% of that count at the time had the chance to make money to put back in his own pocket, back into his own community. From 1920 on, that ratio degenerated heavily, meaning that black males, the count of black male per black child, that went down heavily as of 1920. And the choice of pay for a white man in the 1920, a black man got more than 75% less when he made that amount of money. So I say that to say, I can keep going, but I say
yeah,
that to
well,
say,
yeah.
where's the
So,
resource?
well,
Mhm. Where's
the resources have primarily been allocated to the biggest political advocacy group since the civil rights movement, which are women. In particular, they're going to single women, single mother women. That's where these resources are going. Okay, and you can call it
Facts.
options, choices. You could call it, the ability to remove oneself from oppressive conditions and situations. But one of the primary things that white feminists wanted to do in the second wave was to abolish or to eliminate the mononuclear family. That's one of the things that they work towards doing. Okay, and as as it pertains to the middle class, the middle class has been streaking in America for quite a bit of time, and one of the reasons that that's
And
happening. Wait before you talk, because ultimately what's happening now is you have a phenomenon called financialization. I did a video on this. You might want to go check that video out. But financialization
sure.
occurs when corporations don't invest within the infrastructure of the company, but they invest in financial instruments. Okay, and they pay themselves with buybacks of stock as opposed to them receiving regular salaries like all the other employees do. So what they're doing is they're investing in themselves, and the top plutocrats are the ones who benefit, but there is no corresponding boons or benefits that filter or trickle down to the rest of the employees. So I think 4 or 5 fold has been the expansion of this, the financialization of the economy, and this is just having a bad effect, on the middle class all across the board. Now, if it's bad for white folks, it's horrible and horrendous for black folks. And then you couple, all of that with the mechanization of labor, and the outsourcing of jobs. Like it just leaves us in a horrible mess. But I still want to get
Right.
to this father issue though, because that's where we got to go. That's what we came here to do, to talk about
Well,
dads.
to finish up and get off of that is as of 1925, a black male got $5 worth of education posted to him, especially the kids who were up New York who were more white than ever. So that means a white male as of age 25 to a black male as of 25 got 50% more investment in him in the education. And so what is the chance to be a father when he doesn't even have the resources that the government chose not to give us?
Okay,
Now the
good
black
point,
women
man.
can look at us and point and say, we didn't do nothing. We ain't got nothing. Nah, you ain't got nothing to submit to. But that's not our fault. That's subsequently what the government wanted. So we got to go back to 1869. We really do, to find out where
Brother,
the hell is over $17 trillion. Sorry,
So I mean, yeah, there's something to
brother,
be
could have
said
gotten.
about, there's something to be said about black men, not having a whole lot of cash. But I want you to think about this for a minute, and then I'm gonna move on to, we got to talk more focused in a focused way on fatherhood. But this is what I'll say: black men are all not. I mean, there's a high level of unemployment for black men, but we're not all unemployed. Okay, we're not all walking away and abandoning our families, but the divorce rate is still high, and the separation rate is still high. Still high. I mean, all of these women who are having kids with, men that they don't marry, they're not all poor. They're not all indigent. So we have to stop, this notion that all of these single children are being born to poor people. This is not the case. This has expanded to the middle class and even some of the upper middle class in the black community. You know,
brother
but
Green.
I mean, because I know a whole bunch of college educated women who are single mothers. A whole lot of them, teachers, nurses, and I ain't just talking about the CNAs. I'm talking about some RNs, single parents, man. And the question is, what difficulty is And these women have children by these men. Okay, a lot of them by men. Some of them more than one man. But once you start having children with multiple men, then it becomes impossible to rectify the situation the way it could have been rectified from the beginning if they would have found a whole way, a way to keep the whole
You're right
family
on point,
together.
GG. You're right on point because as BGS broke down the
but Kishan, I want to let some other people
ahead.
here speak though, bro. I gotta let some other people in. So
Yeah, man, GG. Peace and
yes, sir.
blessings, man. Peace and blessings. Hey, man, you right on point, man. And the manosphere is changing my life, and I'm sure I speak for other men when I say it's changing their lives, man. I want you to, keep on doing what you're doing, man. And I see exactly what you're saying, and I think you hit it right on the head when you said that slave culture, man. It's that slave culture mentality, and that stuff get passed down to us. But all of that can be traced back. I can trace it back to the BC, 700 BC. Because I come from the perspective of us being Israelite and going through the Bible, and that's our actual history. So all the answers that we need can be found there, already written. We just got to follow the book, follow the prescription. But I think you are touching on all of the worldly aspects, the secular aspects, the philosophical aspects that actually are the results of all of the things that are going on in the spiritual. Get what I'm saying?
I get it. I mean, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Although I'm not a black, Israelite, I don't identify as one. Okay, but yet and still, I understand the narrative. I get where you're coming from. But I also, though, I take a great. I put investment into spirituality as well, because a lot of this comes from the way we think, and it comes to the way that we emote. It's just it comes from our inner essence. And right now, we got to find a way to put this egg that's been cracked back together. If there's going to be any salvation for any of us, because you got to think, man. We talk about ourselves and how to avoid trouble and issues and problems, but what about the problems that already exist? Okay, you got like young boys growing up in single parent households, single mom families, and these boys are getting no father involvement at all. And so you wonder why there's such a discipline problem, but then the discipline problem becomes something that the external culture uses to talk about how pathological we are, when the matter could have been rectified from the very beginning. Like it's what a tangle web we weave when first we practice to deceive. And something insignificant, a small little crack in a dam, over time can grow into a large rift. Okay? So at the end of the day, this problem, it started off, I mean, especially all of these disciplinary and these, all of these antisocial behaviors, it started and it became the most pronounced when you started to get rid of black men in the family. Okay? Now you wonder why all these kids acting crazy and there's some ghetto culture out here. Well, now you know why. There's a whole bunch of ghetto culture out here precisely because you don't remove the man from the household. These kids aren't even able to develop fully. And you wonder why they're having these externalized, what the article would put forth as externalized problems. They act out externalized aggression. They don't even know how to contain their aggression. They've never even had a dad around to check them, to let them know you're taking it too far. You can't do that to people. You understand what I'm saying? Their mothers are not engaging in rough and tumble play with them and letting them know how far they can go and how far they can't go.
Yeah, they can't take their son in the yard and box with them every now and then. That's not even their place.
Or even as toddlers. Or even as toddlers. You know what I'm saying? They don't get down on the ground and even if they do it, they don't push them hard enough. They don't have the somatic skills to do this kind of work. And it's actually spiritual work. Okay? But we can't even do it because we are not even present. And you know, the claim that, you know, black men are just leaving. There's some men who don't want the responsibility, but there are a whole bunch of men who do, who are being excluded just based upon the narcissism of the mom, or the idea that the mom has that, well, I deserve better, I can get more. This is the aspect of my life
We got
that
a
I
lot of
don't.
decent men.
Man, there's too many decent men out here. Now, these are not perfect men.
Yeah,
You know, no man is
right.
perfect. I don't care how much bread he got. You
And the
understand what I'm
data,
saying? And if the more bread he got, the more problem he probably gonna be. But I mean, this idea that I can find the Prince Charming I've been, you know, imagining and fantasizing about all my life, that's some bullshit. You know?
Yeah, it's spiritual, man. I've been a teacher for 10 years, and so I get to see it live in the classroom. You know, I get to run into mothers all the time. I can count on one hand how many times I ran into a father, you know. But then the mothers come in like they really don't know what to do. They just don't tell the government that. You get what I'm saying? They wouldn't tell
But
their baby father that.
and that's the issue. Because most of these issues are the results of absent fatherhood. So you got all these boys acting out, and then you got the teachers, like, the only thing they can say is these kids just messed up, they bad. No, it's not that they bad. It's just that they don't have the proper discipline in the household. And
No.
this points back to the earlier argument I was making, man. Women only perceive men as a ticket to a more comfortable life so that they don't have to work, you know, or whatever the case may be, or have to work less. They want a life of material abundance, but it's not just about material abundance. We can't even get to the material abundance and be blessed with the material abundance precisely because we're not doing the spiritual work that will lead to the material abundance. And two people working together in concert, making things happen, is much easier than one individual doing it by their goddamn self. And right now we in a
You're
situation
right.
where you got a whole bunch of women who believe they better off by themselves because they don't have to account. It's a product of antisocial behavior. I'm telling you, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's going to only get worse and worse and worse as time progresses, as far as I'm concerned, because women exhibit the same kind of antisocial behavior when their daddies ain't around.
and that's
So
why
not only are the boys subjected to this, the girls are also subjected to this. And they have no template to look at and to see, oh, okay, this is how things are supposed to go within the context of the household. So they're left
They're
trying to
too
figure it
short
out
sighted.
themselves, and they're being inculcated with messages that's telling them over and over again they can do it by themselves. And either one or two things is going on here, bro. Either they set this system up to work exactly the way it's working in order to keep people off guard so they can be manipulated and taken advantage of like a bread and circus, or these are the most uninsightful, the most, you know, the most
see,
quick-sighted and deluded people on the planet. They got it
James,
all wrong.
I don't know, James, you want to jump in?
Yeah. So I just wanted to expound on two things. Thank you first of all, Brother Green, for having me on. One of the things I think, as you mentioned earlier, right, the whole financial instrument situation. I think what's happening in America, and I think what you hit the nail on the head, is that we're seeing a massive amount of consolidation, right? Where you have one side of the spectrum where those who have will die even more wealthier, and those who don't will die in more debt, right? And what you're seeing, and I'm using this parable in the same thing in the household amongst men and women, right? Because once, as you mentioned, once you divide that nucleus, right, you're seeing a drastic amount of single mothers, females, right, who are drowning in debt, right? They're drowning with the lack of, guidance, or, just the presence of a man, right? And versus now we're seeing more men starting to wake up and say, no, we have to drown upwards to a significant standard where we have to protect ourselves. And that creates that massive imbalance, right? Because as you mentioned, the more you see on television, right, a lot of these brothers who display like irrational behaviors, and I see it even, I'm a later millennial, but when I see it like in the like my I'm sorry, my sister's son, right? There's certain behaviors I'm like, okay, he has both parents, but I can see because he's more there's not enough masculine influence. Not to say the father's not doing, but I'm saying like the imagery, like we grew up with superheroes and action figures, right? I can see the little symptoms of docileness, and then when I look at it from a perspective when you don't have a male in the household, it's even far worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and one of the things that I've always paid attention to is when you walk, like I've dated some sisters in my past who didn't, fathers went around. And I always looked at the number one thing, where is the father's picture in the house? And 99% of the time you don't see it at all. And that's already telling me, like, when you go to other, I've traveled the world and seen other things where other families have pictures, regardless of the father's there or not, to give that profound respect, to show that that is your father, that who he is. And the boys tend to be like, I need to honor and be, what I mean? There's like this monologue of passage, where, the boys are like, dad's not around, but this image gives me some type of perspective of what I need to
Yeah.
go. Versus here in America, that is removed. And I can tell you from my personal perspective, I went through that phase, right, with my own mother, where, again, I'm not saying my father was great and all, right, but he died at a very young age. He's the one that brought my mother over here from overseas. But it was very profound to me, where it's like, okay, here's a man who risked it all. He could have never had me, could have left my mom, back in the islands, back in Haiti, but made the step. But then, out of common courtesy and respect, my mother doesn't even post a picture of him. And it's been like 30 years. And
What?
yeah, brother, it's deep. I'd rather talk to you offline, but it's one of the most. I struggled a lot. I really struggled. I shout out to the Manosphere and brother Charles, actually. I felt was his first channel. There's some things I haven't expounded on, but there was a lot of complexities that I battled as a man growing up, because in my childhood, right, when it came to my father, my mother would not speak a word, right? So growing up, I'm like, okay, was he evil? Was he this? But I remember as a child, right, there were certain things that just threw me off. I'm like, I remember playing cards with my father. I remember like the disciplinary action. I remember this, as a child, I don't know how these images were profound in my mind, but I remember the fact that my father, when my mother first came to America, my sister was pregnant. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. This was like in the 80s, man. And my mother was, I think she needed something. And my father had worked like just like 18 hours. And he went right back out during the whole crack epidemic just to get what my mother needed. And then I fast forward in life, and I don't even have any, I, I don't have a picture of the man. My father's buried in Haiti. It was a family member, uncle of mine, who actually took me to my father's burial ground for the first time, I would say in 2016. Every
That's
time
crazy,
yeah,
man.
right. It's deep, man. There's some things that I've always said from my personal experience, because even myself, as a curious young man, I said, okay, was my father a deadbeat? These are the psychological damages, right? That this is my perspective. I can't speak for everyone else, but being raised in a single family household, single mother household, where the mother's not transparent, and you try to dig deep and you try to find out, and everything is like a shut door, right? When I ask her, how come you've never spoke about my father, she walks away from the conversation. But then I suffered the mental abuses, right? The narcissistic stuff. Like, it was one of those things where it's like I was treated as a bastard child more than actual the child of my father, right? So one of the things I can stress, to brothers, I was fortunate, right, where persevered. I went to, I met a black therapist, helped me, push through to get my college. I got it later on because I understand now. I started to realize, as you always, speak about, and I don't want to take too much of the conversation. I struggled so much because, one, as much as I wanted to be educated as a young child, my mother would blockade that for her own self reasons, for her own self benefit. And I didn't understand until I started listening to you and other brothers, where you talk about how young boys who are just, I mean, some of these young boys are so gifted, but then you're in an environment that is so destructive, where it's more like they see you as, okay, I need you to pay the bills, versus, I give you a perfect example. I got offered to play sports, basketball at the University of Emory in Georgia. Didn't know about it at the time. Didn't know it was, considered Ivy League of the South. And I remember presenting it to my mother. She just, no. Graduating for, trying to get into chess, trying to do all these academical things. I was, like most brothers, physically gifted, like athletic, but I was more concentrated in academic, and everything would become like, no, I don't want to invest in you. Middle school, same thing. When I got a chance to go to private school, and I asked my mom, was like, hey, they want to offer me 80, I think 90% full scholarship, all boys school out of middle school. And I was like, can you cover the 10%? She's like, nah, you can go to public school. And it really trickled down later on in my life, brother. When I started to reflect back, I'm like, damn, here I am trying to push my mind to the next level. But because I'm so dependent on this woman, I'm being blockaded, which later on I end up suffering because, the trauma, struggled. I realized I started to have dyslexia later on. And then, then I was like, fuck it. And I think one of the turning points, excuse my language, is when I went to my father's grave. And, I shed a crate, expressed a lot of pain. And I said to that man, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for you. I know from what I've been told, you would prefer me to be as educated and wise. So I'm going to do my best to finish college, to just, out of my own will, because I was in a dark point, and I did. But, going through these cycles and listening to you, I understand how important it is, what I mean, have to really have strong men and really help young brothers to sift through this nonsense. Because, I was fortunate. I didn't go to the streets. I had access to it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I try to, place myself mentally not to be so overly aggressive and anger, and I channel it through other things. But now I understand the significance of why men are so important, because I see a lot of those brothers out there, man, and I see their pain, and I understand why they just, they veer off. So, just my food.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we live in a culture, man, that is engaged in, like, I don't know, man. I guess the best word for it is it's like pussy worship, man. I don't get it. I'm kind of lost on it. I don't really understand it. And look, women have their value. I'm not saying that they don't have their value, but you need both, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just have one and like, okay, this is sufficient. This will suffice. No, man, it is not sufficing. It ain't working, yo.
Yeah.
It's not working. That's why I continue to put forth. You see that image right there?
That's right.
Yeah. That's the original Holy Trinity, man. You got Horus in the middle.
ISIS.
You got his son to the right, his wife to the left. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and that's the sun, moon, and the star.
I'm gonna get fired up, Gigi. You gonna
That's
call
knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's that's the gods and the earths. That's what it's really supposed to be about. And now it's about everything but that. And I don't like. I'm not here to make an indictment on people who have different sexual orientations. That's not the issue. Okay, the issue I'm making is we have children out here in this world. Okay, and they're not being reared in loving relationships with people, man, who actually care about each other and who want to see each other do well. This is some fuckery going on out here, man. Some straight bullshit. Everybody's like consuming each other, man. Like, and acting like crabs in a bucket. Where is the help, man? Where is the honor, the love, and respect mutually for each other?
You mentioned holistically, and I noticed I did actually some research on this in my own practice. of ADH and ADHD, and when you're diagnosed with it as a child, um, most of these children need diagnosis and then need medication just to pay attention in class. Why is that? It's because the lack of attention at home, and of course, not coming from the father and the mother trying to do a lot. A mother will pamper instead of taking accountability for the moment for her children. So she would give that child the ice cream, or give that child the Snickers, or give that child a snack, just so she could move on with her other multitasking. And that's kind of how moms deal with it. They kind of nurture instead of, hey, pull up your straps. If a father is there, this is taken care of. And so when I look at it from a holistic standpoint, sugar, white sugar, giving kids sweets, mothers, you shouldn't be doing that, because that actually adds to the ADH, and adds to the, and there's cases where kids can die.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think what you're saying there is right, man. I think you're spot on. Women nurture, men, you know, basically encourage and challenge children. Women nurture, it's like consolation, you know, behavior, like hugging, giving them food, patting them on the back and hugging them and all of that. Like there are times when that's appropriate. And children need their fair share of that. But they also need to be challenged.
Yep. And that's why I went on someone's show the other night, and I distinctly said, when it comes to my daughter and her falling in love with a new guy or her boyfriend, it will always be the father between Love, Disney World, Lifetime, Love and Hip Hop. It'll always be her father between what she feels subjectively, because I will screen that young man when he comes to see my daughter or wants to take my daughter hand in any way. So any kind of subjectiveness, will he still have to come in my front room and sit in my chair, and I will deem him worthy enough to have my daughter's hand. So in that aspect, that's why the father is needed to choose the future husband for your daughter. And in that aspect alone, the fear of God will be in the young man, because he knows this is not nothing to play with. And this is why you
We,
have girls say, "Oh, the guys don't come to my yard anymore because my father is scaring them off." Oh, the guy just gave me his number, but he blocked me because he saw my dad. Yes, your dad is protecting you from being 83% single mothers, but you don't want the father, eh?
well, you know, here's the thing, man. That's why I use the word holistic. Not because you're here, but it's because a word that I use often. You can't take a piecemeal approach to problem solving. You got to do a diagnostic, you know. And at the current moment, man, we got a whole bunch of dumb shit going on, man, in our culture, man. And you know, people overemphasize the importance of mothers. They underemphasize the importance of fathers. In fact, since these white women, you know, to me, what this shit is, man. Okay, so you get something good for yourself. It works for you, but it doesn't even really work for you in the long run. It's just working for you. You get a you know, an endorphin rush off so-called being free to do whatever it is you want, but it has a disastrous effect on everybody around you. Not just you, but your children. It has an effect and an impact on the man, and it has an impact on society as a whole. This place is going to hell in a handbasket. You think the shit is terrible now? These people are going to continue to do what they're doing. It's going to continue to get worse. One thing I
Yeah,
do like
man, you
about
need.
the article, the one thing I like about the article was that it said we need programs and social services for fathers. And there's an organization in St. Louis called Save Our Sons, and another organization called Father Support Center. At least there are programs, okay, but there are not enough of them. And they're not really supported by advocacy groups, because all they're doing is looking out for themselves and not seeing how what they're doing has an impact on others as well. You're not the family. You're not the cornerstone of the family by yourself. But if you want to do it all by yourself, it's like, you ever seen that dumbass motherfucker, man, that feel like they can do it all by their goddamn self? You know, like even like in sports. Oh, you gonna just gun the game, right? You gonna, like, you ain't Jordan for real. Everybody ain't Jordan. And
I was
even
just
Jordan
gonna
had
say,
some
you
role
Jordan.
players. Even Jordan had role players. You can't do all this by yourself. You think you can be the center of it all. You not the moon and the sun and the stars all by yourself. You need some help to get this going. You need support, and it ain't just financial. And this is what they got in their heads, like, oh, if it ain't some money coming my way, then I'm gonna dip off because it's another sucker ass Negro somewhere who's gonna feed into my bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So at the current moment, man, like we living in hell, man. This is the way I see it. We living in a hellish society, and look, I understand women wanting some freedom if it is the case that they were white women, but black women always had this freedom. So what they talking about? But the idea of not having a damn man in the house, not even a fucking picture, that's disrespectful, man. You know what I'm saying? You might not be with that man anymore, but damn, that man has basically given you the building blocks for your progeny, man. The lack of disrespect for men in this culture is insane. And it can be emphasized in one area, but it's de-emphasized in other areas. And we not white men, so I just hate when women come to us with this patriarchal shit, or we want to be like patriarchs. We want to be involved in our children's lives, and we want to have meaningful relationships with the people who we sire our children with, so we ain't got fucking kids mixed matched all around like we got socks and shit trying to find the right mate before we go to work. But this is the condition we find ourselves in now. Lionel Celeste plays, I'm getting pissed listening to this guy's story because the same thing happened to me with my mother, with a selfish behavior to hold me back. And, you know, I really feel for you guys, man. At least my mother knew. Okay? Never to badmouth my father, even though she wasn't with him. She got remarried. And my father has had many conversations with me about my mother. And he's told me that, you know, him and my mother really never, ever had an issue. My grandmother got sick. My mother went back to where she was from to take care of her mother, and he didn't follow her. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of had a rift right then and there, not because of some animosity between them, but because, you know, the circumstances or whatever the case may be. So my mother never said anything bad about my father. My father never said anything bad about my mother. Okay? Now, I can't say that for everybody, man. Also, my mother made sure that I had the best education. She was always investing in me, and she knew she couldn't do it all by herself. She knew she couldn't do it by herself, so she involved me with, you know, sports. You know, she took me to the Big Brothers clubs and stuff like that, you know, so I could have involvement. You know, I did the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, went to summer camps. She kept me, you know, involved and invested in my education. These women today don't give a shit about their sons, man. I swear to God they don't. They don't even give a fuck about their girls, man. All they trying to do is get them to the point where they ain't got to take care of them no more. Because
yeah, man.
But that's it. And there ain't nothing wrong with getting your children ready to get kicked out of the nest. But like, there's always going to be attachments between you and your children, and it's not just about them being able to go out there and do it all alone. It's about building bridges so that there's a support network, and that support network can carry forth through generations. And fuck what some people go through, like, oh, they lose it all and all of this. The goal should be to develop a plan for generational wealth to last, not to just fall to the wayside, but to sustain itself over multiple generations. But certain disciplines and certain mindsets have to be developed, and we don't have those, man. Right now, it's just motherfuckers, they main shit is ratchet TV, man. And a lot of dudes, man, on some thug shit, some whack shit, they damn self. And you know this culture of I'm gonna be a hoe. I'm a man, but I'm a hoe man. You know what I'm saying?
Brother,
Yeah, we got
a question for you.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question to you is, from your studies and all the information you've gathered, what what's going on in the sense where, like, I'll give you an example. When I was in junior college, right, I dated a girl, um, and I always ask the question, like, you're young, you don't have any children. How come your mother didn't invest in you to go to college? And then when she got deep in the woods, it was like her mother just, had different relationships, raised by another, she was raised by another man, loves biological father. But what I got out of it was the mother was so trying to pursue this career that she left her child with a neighbor so she can go pursue her own self advantages, right? And one of the disturbing things I was trying to understand, why would a woman go to that length, right, to achieve something where she has obviously a huge responsibility, but then leave it to a complete stranger based off the fact her child didn't want to leave or she wanted to pursue something, to better herself.
Yeah, so my whole thing is, man, women are human beings, man. They fail and they err just like everybody else does. But at the current moment, man, we white women said they were oppressed, so now all across the fucking world, women are oppressed and shit. That's just how this game goes, man. White women told y'all was oppressed for millennia, and so now everybody's on that tip.
Threw it off balance.
Everybody's on that whole narrative that women got it harder. They do more work in the household and all of this. And the kind of work that men could do if they were present, they can't do because, first of all, a lot of them are not present. And it's by women's choice a lot of times. Okay? Like, let's just get this shit straight. All black men ain't just screwing a whole bunch of kids and then walking off. Yeah. Not to 70%. In the black community, it just can't be the case, man. So you mean to tell me 70% of these kids born out of wedlock, all the men just said, you know what, I don't even want to try to make this shit work. Use a thought, I'm out. Women initiate the breakups in most instances, man. You know how much time and energy and effort a man has to investigate? I mean, not invest, but investigate, but invest into a relationship, man, and children and all this, only to have the women just tear it up 2 or 3 years after the kid is born on some straight selfish shit like, I'm not happy. Huh? This motherfucker just bought cribs, cars, furniture, all this kind of stuff just so you can just be like, fuck it.
I mean, it's funny.
I'm not happy.
Brother Green, it's funny you say that because you may be a little more abreast about it with the Richard Sherman situation, right? Where I hope the brother's all right. But just to hear a sister who's been with a man for that long pick up a phone call and just automatically say, yep, let's call the police. It's like, it's scary, man. Like you really don't know. You know what I mean? It's like it's only good when it's only good as she perceives. Versus, as you mentioned, like the amount of investment and energy that a man has to, especially in this era, to lead the house, to make sure everything's okay. Kids to go to the best schools. You know what I mean? The wife is it's a lot, man.
And to add to that, man, like Gigi saying with the financialization, you got men. I mean, you brought up Richard Sherman. It's a man who had made. I mean, money doesn't really. It's not an escape hatch, right? You're still at the mercy of all of these. I mean, to the lowliest woman.
And that's the issue, man. The lowliest, bruh. You know what I'm saying? She could be an average chick, average looking, average intelligence, the whole nine. She has the tools at her disposal to fuck you up just because she can. And they pull that plug just because they can. Sometimes they regret it, but they'll never admit it because they got another sucker who will come along and do the same shit all over again. You know what I'm saying? And so, but before you make that comment, man, like it's to the point, man, I would tell any young man, look, and this is in response to what Artist and MC said a little bit earlier about like this man whore mind state. I would suggest that if you're a young man, you know, you can go out and whore, but wrap your dick up. Okay? Don't have any children, man. Don't fall into the wet shit like ODB, I like it raw. Don't do that. Okay? Have a hat on, man. This is for 18-year-olds or even younger than that, because now they screwing way earlier than that. 16 to 25, man. Don't have any kids, bro. Your life has just begun. And smash something, but don't get infatuated with these chicks because they'll throw you off your purpose. And then you got to make up 3, 4, 5 years trying to get yourself reset because you just got through jacking off all your time, investing it into something that was a liability instead of an asset. And women are supposed to be an asset, but men already are an asset to men. I mean, men are already an asset to women when they come along because it's implicit within the nature of the relationship. I mean, you come into it thinking, okay, we going somewhere. First time, I'm paying for it. Food we eating the first time, I'm paying for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just implicit within the context of the culture in which we live. Now, things might be changing, man. You know, I'm an OG at the present moment, so I don't know, you know, but, you know, after you get yourself established in the context of a relationship, the women share more, you know, after that. But the young guys, man, don't fuck around, get serious with these chicks, man, until you got your shit together. Ain't nothing worse than building a whole bunch of shit with a woman, man, and then losing it all because you built it with her and the state enables her to be able to extract your resources from you. Man, and then, you know, and then, but it's so crazy now. They got it to now, like in Canada, where it was this one dude who was dating a woman, bruh. They didn't even live in the same crib, but he was smashing her. And every now and then he would buy her some shit. She took that dude to court, man, and they made that dude continue to pay for her shit, bro. They wasn't even living together, bro. But they had dated for like maybe a decade or so. Or they were seeing each other. Right? Each had their own residences. If the people in these judiciaries, man, can do this shit, man, they have no honor to me, bro. They're not honorable people to me, man. But like the brother said, Kenshin said earlier, or I forget who it was that made the statement earlier, what is the cause of these people doing it? Because it's men that uphold this. At the end of the day, it's men in these judiciaries, it's men who are attorneys, it's men who are legislators that are doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? And one has to ask the question, man, what are they getting in return for doing this, bro?
It's a spiritual battle, man. It's a whole
What are they getting in return?
Battle.
What are they getting in return for doing this? Because you think you're elevating women according to these liberal principles, and that's cool. But freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free, bro. You got to pay something to get free. You know what I'm saying? You freedom ain't free. I know it sounds oxymoronic, but it costs. Freedom costs. You understand what I'm saying? You got to pay the cost for freedom. And at the current moment, man, women are paying the cost. They not paying it right now because this society is just like, I don't know, man. It's just like, it's a Captain Save a whole society, bro. It just is what it is. It's a service-based economy where men don't have to actually build the infrastructure anymore. And there's no imminent threat or danger. And so therefore, you know, I guess everybody's able to indulge in excess. It's like the fucking Hunger Games or something like that right now. But this shit ain't guaranteed tomorrow, bro. And then you also got to think, man, like you fucking around with the architects of the universe, man. You fucking around with the elementals in this hole, man. Is what y'all doing. That's, in my viewpoint, that's what is exactly is occurring. You fucking around with the elementals, man. The shit that has worked for millennia. We've been reared. We've been evolved to do shit a certain way that works. And you can start tinkering, and I'm not saying the society is not great in certain aspects. It does have its benefits. You know, we're shielded from the elements. You know, we don't have dangerous animals coming after us other than ourselves, you know, or the occasional bug or insect or some shit like that, or rodent here and there, or, you know. But for the most part, we've domesticated and terraform the environment to make ourselves uber comfortable. So now what do we do after that? We still are animals in essence. And our
Yeah, so we
children
have to
still
get.
matter, man. Like you fucking around with the foundations of the universe, man, as it pertains to human beings. And every time you give, look, I don't mind women having, to some degree, some option if they don't want to work or not. But all this fucking throwing yourself around, just having 3 or 4 different kids, 4 or 5 different, relationships between the dudes that you got kids with, man, this shit is souring it's souring the stew, bruh. This behavior is not. This is not optimal behavior, bro. That's all I can say, man. This is some rock gut shit. This is concubine culture on steroids, bro. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. It's concubine culture on steroids, and y'all want to keep doing it, man. Let them keep doing it, but I say don't engage them, bro. Especially the young guys, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to, build myself now, getting caught up in, not having a father, being raised by a single mother, you don't really learn how it is to be a man. I mean, I can remember only spending like one summer with my father when I was like maybe 10 years old. And that was like my only like real perception of him, like through my own lens, like what I could see for myself. And that, that's not enough time to really,
Hey, and you
spend
know
with
what
your
this means
father
to me?
and learn, you know?
You know what this means to me? It means to me, real talk. It means to me that black men are superheroes, man. Like
Yeah. And
in this culture, we are fucking superheroes. Like anybody else that is going through the shit we've gone through would have cracked a long time ago. Like for real talk.
Yeah.
And black women, I'll say they got their own ways in being heroic too. Okay. But all this hero shit by ourselves, these white folks, man, know how to split people apart, man. That's what they do as like a science, man.
Yeah.
And these
That's
motherfuckers
what I'm
fell for the
saying.
banana. They fell for the banana in the tailpipe, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And it's one thing, like, put it this way. Delayed gratification is a motherfucker, man. Like, you can get some shit that'll, satisfy some intense craving right now, but it might not be the good shit for you. Like, you might be in the mall. No, let me rephrase it. Okay. Like I was raised by a single mom and shit, but she got married. And one of the things that I always wanted, because it was good, was McDonald's and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we go by the McDonald's, you see it, you want it. You know what I'm talking about? It's something that you want right now. As everybody knows this feeling. Like you want this shit right now, even though it ain't no good for you. As a child, you don't even know it ain't good for you. You just want it because it tastes good, because they mix all these damn chemicals in it to make you desire it. They put a bunch of sugar and salt in the shit, and what they call that shit, MSG in it. So it keeps you craving it. You know what I'm saying? But like my OG be like, man, we got food at the crib. We're not about to get that. That shit ain't even good for you.
everything is corrupted, and you
So
got to
now
keep in mind.
it's just like, even if you a man, like, look, that it might be good to hit that shit raw. You 18, 24, whatever the case may be. It's good. You feel like it's good to hit that shit raw. And damn, you done let your guard down. Now you about to go ahead and give her a child, right? Because she been pressuring you like, I want a baby. I want to have your baby and all this shit.
Man, that's my man. I swear.
But
Stupid. But not
I swear
knowing.
to God,
Not
like,
knowing. Not knowing no better. That's why you don't say not having a father to tell you, man, you don't need to be if I don't care if she want a child. That's your seed. You're supposed to fucking you treasure your fucking seed. You're not supposed to just give it to any girl just because she want a fucking baby. No. Because then you putting yourself in all type of situations that you're not ready for, she not ready for. You don't know what the fuck that all the details and shit that it fucking takes to be a fucking father and just deal with the differences of
man, you married.
learning adulthood and all that, taking a child and not knowing just who you are as a man, and now you got to raise somebody else. It's not a smart thing to do, and that's why we need more fathers. But it's sad that women control, the whole parent dynamic because men don't really have a say so. It's just
And you
sad.
got it, they got it to the point where it went from men having a say so. Now, women are always going to implicitly have a say so and are going to gain the affection of their children, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not possible that a woman could give birth to and nurture a child other than she's just absolutely fucking abusive. Okay? If she is giving nurturance and love to that kid, man, that kid is going to always by default show her deference and respect, unless it's a culture that breeds disrespect. Okay? But the father, he's not going to get that kind of honor unless it's demanded. And unless he's able to put the time in. They done got us in a situation now we can't even put the time in. Y'all done seen videos where dudes trying to see their kid and the woman like, no, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got to do X. If you don't do it, hurry up and do it, then you ain't got to see her. I done been through that shit myself. Oh, if you don't do this, you ain't going to see it. I'm like, man, fuck you and the kid then. I'm sorry. I know it sounds callous, but I had to be like that. I'm like, okay, that's how you feel. I'm going to do what I got to do, bare minimum, but I'm not going to have you making me jump over hurdles and hoops and shit. I'm going to just take your ass to court. I took her to court. I took her ass to fucking court, bro. I took her to fucking court. And the woman was, the judge was a black woman. She tried to hike up my child support, dog. I told you I went to jail for a little bit. I come out of jail, man, start getting my shit back together, man. Became a union iron worker and shit. She wanted to hike up the support because I wanted to see my kid. I was like, man, I'm just trying to see my shorty, man. I ain't trying to fuck with you. I ain't trying to get back with you. I don't want to have shit to do with you. Because you done already made it painfully obvious that you'll go through great lengths to do whatever you can to try to fucking belittle me and dehumanize me and to make me feel small. Even when it comes to my shorty. And truth be told, she left the kid, man, with me. That chick went off, man, and left. She had postpartum depression and a case of the cock carousel throbs and went off. I was like, no, you not coming back to me after that. That's a done dizzle. I'm not returning to that. No. You done stepped outside the stable? Oh, no. Ain't no conversations we gonna have. None. I don't give a fuck what you think you called yourself doing. You know what I'm saying? Once you break the stable, you that motherfucker's problem now. Now you want to rely on me?
Because they unstable.
Oh, no. Hey, look. But it's a whole bunch of women that do this shit. It ain't just me. It's a whole bunch of men that go through this bullshit after they get kids. I'm like,
I said,
damn.
it's like a rite of passage for a black man. I swear, it's like a rite of passage. Like
man, I told that chick, man, I told that chick, bro, I was like, look, she came knocking on my mother's door. I was in the house. I said, Ma, excuse my language. I said, hey, Ma, don't you open the door for that fucking Jezebel bitch. Don't open the door for her ass, man. Fuck that shit. Don't you let her in here, man. I don't give a fuck if she got the baby with her or not. Don't let her ass in here. She gone. I'll see her in court. Or I'll see her at the visitation point. All this old buttering up bullshit. Now, if you want to do that on your own time, y'all do that. But don't involve me in that bullshit. I'm not about to be involved in that. You feel me? I got some people I need to pay homage to right fast. He says, what's crazy to me is that concubine behavior destroys a woman's ability to pair bond with the man. I think you're correct on that, sir. But they don't want connection. I think you're correct on that, sir. They only can have a baby and can't keep a marriage. They don't want a marriage. They have not. You have to be enculturated into this, man, to some degree, or enculturated out of it. So there's social pressures for these women, man. Everything around them is telling them, you don't need no man. Being with a man is some pick-me shit. Fuck the kids. Fuck my kids. Because basically, if you're a single mom, you got to go to work. 9 times out of 10. You coming home from work tired. You can't spend no time nurturing the fucking kid, even in the maternal way. All you can do is give them something to eat, get them ready for bed, and then they go back off to school and shit the next day to do the thing all over again.
Yep.
That's the system we got set up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it was ever perfect, like, you know, but damn, at least if you got two parents around, man, and they actually love the children, and because they've been taught how to love, so they don't have all those problems that I mentioned earlier. And I can go over those problems again, man. These are the kind of problems kids have when their daddies ain't around. You know, the cognitive abilities are diminished. They can't even think straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, their emotional development is stunted. Their relationships with other people are stunted. Their fathers can't give their daughters security and emotional support. The fathers can't give their sons character. This is some fuck shit. This is concubine shit on steroid. Why would you take the shit that evolved from slave culture and amplify it? You already see what the effects are. It's like we already on a beta test for this bullshit. So y'all want to go in that direction? All they're going to do is undermine Western civilization itself. They're going to, fuck it, man. If we got to be the casualties for this shit for a short period of time, all they're going to do is open themselves up for attack. Because if the men don't trust the women and they're attacking each other, and all they doing is trying to circumvent each other, they'll never be able to sustain an attack. Because they ain't going to ride for each other. When you don't ride for each other, the whole ship come down, bruh. And that's what they said, but they got this mercenary army right now. So, the career army and shit. So, hey, it just is what it is, bro. All I can say is, he said, can he get the gunshots or a bomb? Hey, bro, I'm gonna give you one better. I don't know if it's gonna show, but it might. I'm gonna give you one better, Joe from DC, just for you. Yeah, man. I thank you, Joe from DC. I appreciate your investment, my brother. I appreciate that. He said that was perfect, man. I'm glad you like it, man. I thought you would get a kick out of that shit, man. I'm gonna have to do something for some people, man, like some special shit that I can do whenever somebody, especially people who donate all the time. I'm gonna give them some special gifts and little, little media and shit like that, man. But it's just, he says he think I can do better. Damn, Joe. Joe said he wants some bombs in this hole, man. I'm gonna give him a string of bombs right now. Thank you, brother Joe. Appreciate that, bro. Straight up, man. Joe like, man, I need some bombs in my life. I gotta give him some bombs. And last but not least, Joe, I'm gonna give you the line up, man. Boom! Oh! Yeah, man. Thank you, Joe, man. Appreciate your contribution, brother. Appreciate that. You could see I put some gifts on there. You had to look at that one as opposed to just hear it, bro. But anyway, man, all I can say is, man, you want this beta test, this shit that's falling apart at the seams to happen in your culture? Okay, all right, keep at it. You about to see some consequences, but it's all about the whole, man, not just the parts. It's about the whole. And right now, man, we have pedestalized these women to such a fucking degree, it's out of hand, bro. And these white European dudes are responsible for this shit, for real. I'm just gonna keep it a buck, man. And I don't have a problem lionizing women, but it's got to be checks and balances to this shit. Right now, there are no checks and balances, bro. There are none. They have absolute control. You understand what I'm saying? And so, hey, man, it ain't easy growing up in a gynocratic culture, but that points again to my understanding that black men are fucking superheroes, bro. To undergo all this shit and to still be able to maintain some sort of emotional maturity,
sanity,
to go through this shit and still be able to have relationship with other people, not be antisocial, to still be able to get through an education and to live a life, man. Like, man, dude, to be able to do that, bro, without fucking falling under, man, dude, it's a miracle, man. That's like Pac say, the rose that grew out of concrete, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like we superheroes in this hoe. And still, we more beneficial to children. We spend more time with the kids than these pale faces do. And not to, you know, be right now, I ain't trying to be racist or whatever in reverse or whatever, but we still do more than they do. And you ain't even letting us be there. And you still got some shit to complain about. Only gynocrats would do that, bro.
Brother.
Only some unappreciative gynocrats would do that, bro. Thank you so much, my brother, Chief Rocker, man. I appreciate your donation, bro. Big ups to you, man, on that one, man. Let me give him some fanfare, man. I appreciate that, my brother. Oh my God, man, Black Ken, I definitely ain't mean to look over your super chat, man. That just because, you know, sometimes I get caught in the moment. Sorry about that, Black Ken. You can boo me, dog. Fire some shots at me, man. Let me give him some shots, man. You need to go ahead and shoot GG, man. You know? Need to go ahead and shoot GG, man. Shots fired, man. My bad. I'm sorry about that, man. You go ahead and boo me too, bro. I'm sorry about that, man. I definitely did not mean to overlook you, brother. I'm only trying to handle all of this, man, and do it all at the same time. So you got that one off, my brother. You can be mad at me, man. I apologize, man. I deserve to be disciplined for that. So he said these dudes making babies and baby mama makers know what they're doing. Your futures, Lil Durks and DMX types know what they're doing getting women pregnant. They have no excuse, same as baby mamas. To a certain extent, I can agree with that, man. You know? But, you know, if we knew better, we do better, Black Ken. If we knew better, we do better. You know what I'm saying? And apparently we don't know better, man.
Yeah,
but just
I definitely agree with that. If I knew better, I'd have did better. For real.
But you know, like my biggest regret, man, is not having the kind of family structure that I wanted, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to have no bust downs and deal with no you know, and these women, like, even though if you with a woman for a long time, the culture is such that they can break wide at you in any moment, man. You could be like you said, Richard Sherman. Ain't that the balling motherfucker used to play with the Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean he's Stanford educated. He went to Stanford, brother.
Smart brother.
Like
very educated.
You don't hear many. And I mean, I'm not to disparage brothers in the NFL, but to hear a brother who went to one of the top Ivy League schools in the world, and then to play in the NFL, and to be like squeaky clean, and then all of a sudden just one phone call, whatever was going through with, from what I've been told, the woman's father, maced him, attempted to pull a weapon out on him. Like, how does that happen in society?
Well, I mean, look, first of all, you got these women, man, you know what I'm saying? These women, man, are doing the most, bruh. And it's only because they're being supported in doing the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Black Ken, I just recently read put your super chat out there, bro. You know, you want me to do it again, I'll do it again. But I just recently read it and everything. So, you know, you might want to pay attention to the stream, kid. You know what I'm saying? Did I not read this? Anybody want to verify that?
Most definitely.
I just read that, bro.
Yep.
I read it. I gave myself some discipline for not reading it and the whole nine. You're going to have to go back and look again, my bro. Yeah, I showed that, dog. So, you know, my whole thing is, man, it's like, man, we dealing with a culture, man, where people are turning on each other, and the first thing they do is they call these Babylons and shit. These Babylons, man. And they know that this shit is gonna disrupt your life. And half of these chicks doing more dirt than the motherfucking dudes they calling the police on. And that's that bullshit, man. Nigga, you know, we don't need this shit, man. Like, hey, if you gonna play that Jezebel shit, man, don't fuck with black men. Leave us alone. If you're gonna bring that shit to our doorstep, man, leave us the fuck alone. If you got Babylon on your mind, stay the fuck away from us, man. If you got that Babylon shit on your mind, leave us the fuck alone. Period. Especially if you ain't getting like abused for real, man. These chicks, man, slapping motherfucking dudes, punching them, all kind of shit, and daring you to do anything about it. You feel me? Daring a man to say anything or to react in any kind of way. Like, in other words, you a boy. Stay the fuck away from us. Because, you know, women like you, I'm going to tell you what y'all are, man. Chicks like y'all, yeah. Straight up. Stay away from us, man. Don't fuck with us. Go fuck with some women or go fuck with Zaddy. Go set his ass up, but you know what? You ain't gonna do that. You're gonna get some act right around that motherfucker. You're gonna start acting right around him. You know? Act like asses to us. You get some act right around them. You're on your best behavior and shit with them motherfuckers.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
That's why they pay them. That's why they fuck up their check.
You're on your best behavior and shit.
Yeah, they know how to act.
They start motherfucking courtesying and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? You're around them motherfuckers. You get around us and shit. You understand? You get around us and you start acting an asshole. Because you know we can't really defend ourselves against it. That's the reason why you do that shit. These motherfuckers acting like they in danger and all this shit. Bitch, stop fucking lying. Stop fucking lying. Stop capping and shit for these crackers. Real talk. Stop fucking doing the goddamn Daffy dance with these goddamn white people, man. That shit pisses me off, man. It does, man. It pisses me the fuck off. Chief Rocket says my only response to Black Ken is what about situations whereas your girlfriend that you trusted and was on the pill got off the pill but didn't tell you? Exactly. You feel me? Or what about a woman that said, look, I want to fucking build a family. This is it. We gonna do this shit. Thick and thin. Which is what half of these motherfuckers obligate themselves to from the fucking beginning.
Gorilla, can I ask you a question?
Hold on, man. I got to give a
Look,
bomb on that one, man. Look, this a mothership. Till death do us part. You fucking capping liar. You're a fucking liar. And then if it is a God, I hope one day you got an answer for that lie. You lying motherfucker. I'm just mad right now. I gotta keep it raw. You a lying motherfucker. You using dudes, man, and treating them like things, and don't see them the value in men. But that's just a reflection of Western culture in general. But the motherfuckers at the top of the food chain, they get some respect. I got pissed off. Go ahead, brother.
I'm glad you brought that up, family. I've seen brothers, even myself, where I have interacted with, I was dating a girl. I interacted with her nieces and nephews, right? And women can tell a man how he socializes with children, right? And that gives them that, that picture in their head, like, oh wow, he'd be a great father, right? What I notice is that same woman will be the most destructive. Am I right or wrong? Everything
In a lot of
she,
instances, yes. Yeah.
You see
Because
what I'm
they
saying?
know how to use you. They feel like you a bitch. When you they say they want a man to dedicate to them, but then a motherfucker dedicate themselves to them, and then these bitches want to start acting crazy. So I should have just kept you as a jump off to begin with. Then you wonder why men are like, okay, well, all I do is fuck around and have jump offs. Oh, they fuck boys. Bitch, you made us fuck boys. You turned us into fuck boys. But you can't even take that into consideration, huh? Well, who hurt you? You, bitch. You did. You did.
Yeah, brother. I've seen that with a lot of brothers, man, who just, show this leadership, the things that a girl didn't have in her household, right? And that same girl, I mean, so destructive, man. So, I mean, I've seen one of my homies get slapped at a ball at a gala just because this woman didn't get some type of attention. It was something just minuscule. But at the same time, she's talking about, oh, this is a person I love. It's like the I think a lot of sisters think brothers have Stockholm syndrome.
My bad, man. I ain't mean to do that. I screwed up right there. My bad.
No problem. I said I think a lot of sisters think brothers have Stockholm syndrome, which brothers do not, right? Like it's getting to that point. Like many brothers are just like, nah, I'm walking away, man. If this is if I have to go through this instability for the rest of my life, I might as well just not participate in this game.
And see, it used to be checks and balances on this shit. So if she want to step off, okay, the kids come with me or whatever the case may be. Now they got the ability to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they just do what the fuck they want. I got some business to tend to right fast. K-Ron says, women of all races get with black men knowing we cater to them like no other and knowing they can abuse black men like no other and the state will support their abuse. Another... Bomb. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. True indeed. But I don't fuck with. I ain't never fuck with a white chick, and really don't intend to. But these black women, man, man, I can't for the life of me, bruh. Real talk. These women don't know what they doing, bruh. They haven't been where's your spirituality, lady? The only spirituality you have is connectivity to a fucking thing that came out of your womb. That's it. And a job. That's all. That's the sum total of what our life, and then being able to go buy weave and consumer products and shit. That's what we building on. That's the foundation of our culture right there. A job, a baby, and weave and nails and some consumer products and shit. And girls trips and shit.
Well, let me ask you this, brother G.
Hold on, I got one more piece of business to take care of.
Go ahead.
He says, Dr. G, I'm referring to sisters in their 30s and 40s that do this. The ones who are trying to secure a provider knowing that it's Custer's last stand for them with finding a husband. Man, fuck them. Because you know what? They ain't learned from the past. A lot of these motherfucking old-ass chicks got fucking babies that's just not coming into adolescence. And they the worst ones to fuck with, bruh. Because you can't teach an old dog new tricks. A pimp knows a hoe is a hoe is a hoe. A hoe is a hoe is a hoe. Shit, she gonna go back to the pimp regardless. Even if she find herself, like, didn't you read the autobiography of Malcolm X? It ain't exciting enough. It's not enticing. It's too mundane. I want to go out into the world and see it. You want to go out into a terraform world and see it. Sex in the City and shit. Stop taking men down these dark ass paths, man. That's my word. Leave us the fuck alone. Or tell us up front, I am a whore. I'm in a hoe phase. I don't intend on being anything more than a whore in a hoe phase. Period. Just leave it right there. We'll be good. You keep it real with me, I keep it real with you. But they don't want this is too frank right here, man. This talk too real right here. I'm about to go ahead and let y'all talk for a minute, man. I've been preaching. But you know, my word on it is you fucking with the divine plan. You think you got it all figured out, cause why? You fucking around with the plan. You fucking around with what's holy. And to be a village wife, to be a concubine. Because that's where you feel most comfortable. Because you don't think much of yourself. Gotta be what it is. Or you've been sold this fairy tale notion of what it really is like to be involved in a familial situation, because you ain't never even seen one. You don't even know what the fuck it is. The closest thing you came to it was the Cosby Show or Good Times or some shit. Man, we throwed off, bro. We throwed off, man. You go ahead and talk for a minute, man. I'm about to close this out in about 15 minutes, though.
Yeah, I had a question for you, Brother Green. What do you think of the key dynamics that trigger these women into this mindset where they just be like, they disregard men, knowing, and this is the crazy part, right? Which is, to me, I don't know if this is the psychological part that these women battle, and I don't want to paint all of them in one stroke, but how can a lot of these sisters suffer without having a father, but internalize, do the same behaviors when they actually are introduced to someone? As I remember Kevin Samuel saying, you've met your dream husband early on, but you were just, you know what I'm saying?
Hard-headed, thinking they know every goddamn thing, thinking they got options. And look, women do have options in a whore culture, thought culture.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
This is a thought culture, man. There is no social shame for women to be a slut bucket. Then you got 21. What's his name? 21 Savage walking around with Amber Rose going to a slut walk. Like it's cool. We making moms out of sluts now. And then wondering why they can't be moms and shit. Or family women. It ain't in them. If it's in them, it's in them. If it ain't in them, it ain't in them. And look, men can be sluts too, though. Let me not get it twisted. Because men can be some sluts too. I was talking to a friend of mine, today, and I told him, man, as a young boy, man, this is why a father's important. So he could tell his son, hey, look here, son. That pussy might make you feel cool right now, but that pussy gonna bring you some pain later on, especially if you ain't being disciplined with it. Sir, young sir. You remember DC Cab with Mr. T in it back in the day?
Yeah.
And Grady and shit?
Yep.
Don't let your dick run your life. Don't let your dick run your life. And brothers need to start learning how to cut these chicks off like K-Camp. Soon as they start acting wild and crazy, and they do act wild and crazy. All this, I want a man who can handle me shit means you want a man who's going to endure your fucking abuse. And deal with you being a fucking child. Who had probably the same malnourishment spiritually in her own upbringing. Because they daddy wasn't around. Cut their ass off like K-Camp. Leave them alone, man, because you wait too long, it's going to turn into a Richard Sermon situation. Trying to figure it out. Trying to work it out. Trying to make it straight. Men need to learn how to cut these motherfuckers like scissors. Like Slick Rick said back in the day. I had to cut her short. Like scissors. Trying to fuck with me? I am the Grand Wizard. Bye. Because as soon as a woman will show you that she'll be an asshole, that's just the beginning of it. It's going to get deeper and deeper. If she'll lie to you one time, she'll lie to you 2 times, and 3 times, and 4 times, and 5 times. If she'll put her hands on you one time, she'll do it 2, 3, 4 times. If she call the police on you one time, she'll call the police on you 2 times, and 3 times, and 4 times. And then act like a fucking victim, knowing she was being a bitch the whole fucking time. Real talk. Avoid these motherfuckers like the plague, bruh. Motherfuckers need to start cutting them off, nigga. Like, what Future say? Cut them off like a righty. Big ballin' is a hobby. I don't know what he said in the song, but I know he was like,
that's actually it.
I cut them off just like a righty. What Lil Weezy say? Cut them off. What's the other song? Don't get too comfortable. To the left, to the left. If you want to leave, go ahead, Big. You can step. Listening to Beyonce. And listening to what she say. Girl, I put you out up on your B-day. I'll let you. But we don't know that, though. Men are not taught that. Fathers need to be teaching their sons this shit. She can fuck your life up, bro. Stay away from that shit. Be cautious. You Samson. She could be Delilah, bruh. She'll cut your mane off, and then you'll be left weak and defenseless. Then you got to try to figure it out. In a world where you don't get that many mistakes. I'm just saying, bruh. We ain't We ain't giving these young boys the knowledge, man, but they think they know it all right now. But a lot of these young guys know what's up, though. But my whole thing with these young dudes, stop fucking with these chicks, having babies with these chicks. Be about your progression. Be about your motherfucking elevation. And don't think that you are obligated as a man to endorse and to support fuckery and chicanery and abuse. We don't tell each other that, man. So, look, I'm going to let everybody make a closing statement if they so desire. I know we got a panel up here, man, and it's been, been up there. Some people have spoken, some people have not. I don't know if Herb Saint is just listening at the current moment because it's a better internet connection. But I'm going to start off with James, man. I'm going to let you do last. Larry, brother, is there anything you'd like to say, man? I ask before we get up out of here, and then I'll move on, and then we dip on out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's a pleasure and an honor, man, just to be on the panel and be able to hear you and be able to speak my piece, man. But of course, like I said, I'm coming from a point of view where all of this is spiritual warfare. Like, I think we've forgotten that this whole thing is war. We've been a conquered people. We've been conquered as slaves. We done came over here, and now you got these white folks there doing whatever they want to do. And so they orchestrate this whole plan, and they use these women because they know they're the weaker vessel. They know that they're easier to subjugate. And once they get them, it's like we can't walk with just one leg. Walking is a constant thing of falling. You have 2 feet. You cut off one of the feet. If you cut off one of the pillars, being the man, we can't get around. And in all honesty, we need the whole body, meaning other people, meaning Green Gorilla. We need Dr. Tia Stein Johnson. We need all kinds of people. We need engineers. We need all these different elements to make us whole as a people. But what they did was break down the family structure. And they did all of this stuff systematically, but it's all a spiritual attack. And that's why they're doing it. It's from the enemy. And it's been attacked on the black male seed. That's what it's all coming down to. So all of it is to attack us because they don't know where the Messiah is coming from. But they know where amongst the people that is coming from. So they're going to keep us beat down. And ain't going to be no rising up.
You see the book right there, Intellectual Warfare, Jacob Carruthers, man. It's they got us by the balls, man. And women get manipulated, men get outright direct aggression. This is just what it is. But they done turned concubine culture into liberatory thoughtism. What the fuck is this, man? I just don't get it, man. Like this shit might be cool for a season, but then it's time to go. It's time to turn the corner on this shit.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's time. It's gone too far, man. It done got to the point where it's too much, bro. It's too much. I'm trying to tell them.
That's all I can stand. I can't stand no more.
But you got a whole bunch of Capletons. You got a whole bunch of Capletons and simpletons, man, who, whatever these women say, whatever they do,
they're going to try to save them. And the whole thing
even if she wrong,
is chaos.
Even if she wrong, because she can't do no wrong to these bum ass motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes right there, man. Man, them dudes right there, bro.
Man, they're a virus.
Man, them dudes right there, man. They the ones that keep this shit in place. It's the dudes that keep this fuckery in place. And I ain't saying like subjugate women. That's not. Look, all we saying is, if you fucking put your word out there, live by your word. If you say you're going to be in a monogamous relationship, if both men and women, be in one. If you say you're going to be in a marriage, be in one. And stop being bitches and being assholes to each other.
They
Because
have
life is
no
too
moral compass.
goddamn short. Life is too fucking short to be arguing over stupid shit. Toothpaste and the bath door open and the towel on the floor, or some fuckery. Most people get upset over stupid shit.
True indeed. They have no moral compass. We are their moral compass. We're supposed to be. We're supposed to be the priests in our household. But
If
they've
you
cut
if
out the priest.
if you say you about something, be about it. And stop acting like you gotta have your way all the time. Man or woman. You're supposed to be working as a fucking team. That's one thing we ain't figured out how to do. Work as a goddamn team. Ain't no
Yep.
iron team, but it's a bunch of I and ignorant.
You said spiritual. You said spiritual, GG. A lot of times, if you took that path, there's no turning back. Sometimes, in certain mythologies, in certain religions, once you make a certain choice, that's it.
Hey
It's over.
man, like look, I never thought I'd see the day where women, referred to themselves as sluts in an adoring and in an amicable and an endearing way. But that's where we are. How many orgasms can you have and shit? Like that's really like what we talking about? Like, I mean, like that's what we talking about. Like you can rub your clitoris for 30 minutes if you're not orgasmic or some shit. Anybody can have one. I don't understand this shit. Like the shit that these women are tripping off of. Maybe we need more sex classes or something so we can teach motherfuckers how to fuck or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if this is all it is, all I'm saying is, man, look, I'm not trying to resolve the shit. I'm done. I'm done with it. Yeah, like Man Friday said, I'm done my damn self. Like, I can't have a team, man, if they playing like free agents and shit. Fuck it. That motherfucker gonna get traded next season. Or might get traded this season. Fuck it. We ain't gonna hang out with them. It is
Heck
or
no,
her.
they don't even make the squad. We got to go ahead and band together and go forward with a plan without them, and then they'll just have to catch up.
Man, we living in crazy times, bro. But I'm about to let you go, Larry, man. Thank you for joining me, my brother. Now I'm gonna go to
Appreciate
JT.
it. All love, man.
All love, brother. JT, you got any closing remarks you want to say, brother?
Yeah, just appreciate you, doing what you do, trying to help brothers find themselves, speaking up for brothers, because at the end of the day, like the last gentleman just said, the only way we really gonna get these women to follow is if we show we can lead, and that's leading yourselves, trying to help your community the best way you can, but don't focus on no woman, don't focus on, try to keep up with the Joneses or, with everybody else or with new trends, just stay true to who you are. And, like I said, do your best. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can do is do your best. And your efforts, other people will see what you're doing and they'll attract themselves to you because you attract what you are. So just be positive, try to do what's best for you. And that's all I can say.
For sure, man. Peace out to you, my brother. Thank you for
All
joining,
right,
man.
peace out, brother. No problem.
Appreciate you. Herb Saint, what's up, Wody?
Whoa, what's that, man?
What's
I
good with little
appreciate,
daddy?
man. I appreciate your combo, man. All as always, man. You bring that fire, dude. You keep
Well, you
it.
know what they call me, bruh.
What
They
they
call
call
me Big Chief Chopper Toolers. I spit fire water, bruh.
you a fool, bro. You a fool.
Big Chief Chopper Toolers. I spit fire water. Ain't nobody darker. You heard me? I'm just talking crazy, man.
Man, you
I
been
spent a lot of time in NOLA, man. So,
yeah,
that.
you did, man. You said chopper tools. Most people don't do that word. Man.
Oh man.
But
But
big brother,
anyway, man, much
you
love.
you hold it down. Much love. I appreciate you. I'm always listening, and I'm always sharing your content because brothers need this enlightening, man. Because you know there's guys out here who got channels, bro, and they telling you what's happening to you and around you is not happening to you. And I think that's that's the work of something. You know, you doing the work of evil, man. You know what I'm saying? You telling me I'm not seeing what I'm seeing, what's happening to me is not happening to me. Who are you? And who sent you? You know what I'm saying? So keep telling the truth, brother. I appreciate you. And I'm out.
All right, bro. Yeah, you're right, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody. If I was in the know, I say, but don't let nobody run that game on you. Know. You heard me? So shout out to you, Herb, man. Catch you down on the next one, bro, or down the line some other time, man. Appreciate your support, man, and coming in. James, man, you got any questions, comments, man, before we move up out this thing?
Yeah, brother. I got one question and a comment. My question to you is, with all this eviction that's about to play out, and knowing how both parties politically have really displayed just selfishness, right? Do you think we're at a point politically um, where we just know after through this whole COVID thing and how things have gotten so expensive, and I think there was an article I read that even minimum wage can't even cover rent in America throughout the country. Do you think that we're at a point, like I said, that these political parties are just going to let these women, hang themselves, because we've gotten to that tipping point where it's like, like as you mentioned, middle class is being eroded, and it's about who has it, who doesn't. That's my question to you, and I'll end off with a comment.
I think they might develop some aid for women, but men, I wouldn't be looking for anything, any help, any programs anytime soon. They might come out and do the normal routine, the song and dance, they give the dog and pony show for the women, but only shortly, man, and briefly, because they're not really actually doing anything for these women but putting them to work, bruh. You feel me?
Okay.
And they might come up with some sort of package or whatever, man. But right now, we have not moved out of the financialization neoliberal phase of American society and culture. And it'll take a strong president. Trump wasn't as strong as he thought he was, and it's going to take some dire economic circumstances and some people just being like outright nasty and violent for this shit to change. Real talk. That's just my feelings on it. Because right now they got people doped up off the media and these lifestyles to where it's just a free for all out here, man. There's nothing holding this together, and so we're at a fork in the road almost. But the plutocrats aren't going to give it up, man. Smooth. They're going to hold on to what they can and try to get more. They just greedy as a motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a show on this tomorrow, but I'm going to read from a book called Yurugu, and it's written by Donna Richards. She's also known as Marimba Ani. There was a brother who requested that I do this. And so going over that, it'll just give you some insight into what, somebody who's radical and black, what they think about European and Western culture, all the way from their, seed, all the way to their thinking, their emotions and spiritual force, how they treat others, their religion, a whole host of issues,
Got you.
So her book is dope. It's really, it's not that complicated, but it's a lot to digest, okay? But, it's been asked of me to do this, and so I'm going to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. So, go ahead.
And you got a statement to make?
Yeah, I was just going to close out. I think to all brothers who listen, and, thank you, Brother Green. and I say this, and I say this passionately. Please, brothers, you know what I'm saying? Take the time and really self-evaluate the environment that you're in, and study your adversary very, very closely. Because moving forward, it's a chess game right now for Black brothers in this society. And every move that you make, you have to understand you're the king on that chessboard, and you have to protect yourself at all costs. And put yourself in a situation where I would say, just have great discernment, man, and keep educating yourself and become more of a researcher, because at this point, as you know, the stream has expressed, it's not a game to be played with right now. We're seeing brothers from all walks of life who have provided more than most and still get destroyed through the system. So, that's my final words. And what I'm saying, love y'all, appreciate y'all, and shout out to the Manosphere.
Shout out to you, my brother, man. Peace out to you, man.
You too.
Peace out, bro. So, yeah, man, we did the thing, man. Thank you for watching. Again, if you can, please like the video, please share it, please subscribe to the channel. If you so desire, man, you can please make a donation to the Green Gorilla at $G with a PhD. Or you can, make a donation through YouTube on live streams when I'm on. I'll be on tomorrow, I'll be on Saturday, and I'll be on Sunday. I've just been giving it a break on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I kind of want to listen to Doc Johnson. I've been going a little hard, but I'm gonna, kind of lay back and, if I do anything, it'll only be for a short time on Wednesday. But for the most part, I'm gonna try to be on from Wednesdays to Sundays from now on. But at any rate, man, I want y'all to have good evenings, man. Have productive days tomorrow. And if you can't show me some love, man, show some love to yourself, man. I'll let y'all later, man. 1.